Best of 9 series, another one of these show matches put on by Alpha X, and this time between two amazing players, as they always are when we cast them, of course. In the bottom left, from Jin Air Green Wings, we have got Rogue, our blue Zerg player for this series. He takes on the red Terran in the top right-hand side, TvZ Gaming's INnoVation. So first of all, hello to YouTube. Obviously, this one being cast in expectation of it going on YouTube, unless it's a super horrific matchup and all the games are terrible, it will not be on. So hello YouTube. Again, thank you so much for watching lately, and the viewership has been going up again, which is freaking awesome. Please do keep on liking the videos, and please do subscribe if you have not already subscribed to the channel. It takes a quick second. Turn your little notification bell on as well. Get notifications for when our videos go live every single day. And you can obviously catch all of the latest videos right here on WardiTV. I want to say thanks to you guys on YouTube as well, because the other day I asked what sort of games you would like to see, how much like the age of a match matters to you all, and you had some really good feedback. And basically it was like, we want to watch awesome players. We don't mind as long as the games aren't like years old, and or like, you know, within a few weeks is fine basically. And it was just very positive and kind of cool, and you guys just seem to be very active. So thanks so much for dropping by in the comments over there. Don't forget to maybe drop by the comments today and let me know what you think of this TvZ. Maybe put some predictions down right now before the series gets going, and see how correct you can be by the time you get to the end of the video. I don't know. That might be fun. All right, let's see what happens in INnoVation versus Rogue. This best of 9 getting underway. Excited for this. I do think Rogue has been, in online events, even looking a little bit better lately. Obviously, cast and replay, so we don't have to go through the pauses. But, yeah, not really seeing Rogue kind of be the usual kind of like derpy, you know, his derpy self in these online events has been much more on point, which is really exciting to see, like a Rogue that's kind of delivering in these tournaments. That's really, really cool. So excited to see what comes of this one, as we do see our Reaper is making its way out down to the bottom left-hand side. So away we go for INnoVation. Out across to the bottom left to get some information here. INnoVation been looking pretty good lately as well. When I think about INnoVation as of late, not really seen him in too much, but when we have seen him, especially in TvZ, I want to say he's been pretty successful. I know he's been playing a few online events here and there. I do remember him, obviously, in GSL. He took down Rogue 2-1, and he took down Dog as well. That was back in the round of 16, so quite a while ago now. Like, I say quite a while, like a couple of weeks ago. Not just saying that this isn't a you know, shouldn't be a spoiler or anything to anybody, but yeah, INnoVation definitely showing us that his TvZ recently is definitely capable of taking these guys down. I'm just hoping for a fun series. You know, I'll always be Terran fan at heart, but I've been excited watching Rogue lately, and that's something I don't say often, because a lot of the time I really do come into a series, I'm like, well, you know what, Rogue, he just doesn't do it for me. You know, like he plays something cheesy or super aggressive. I'm like, ugh, really again? And then, you know, if it does macro, it seems to be that kind of boring style of macro where he's just swarming and overwhelming, and you know, either I don't know, but lately Rogue has really been exciting. He's been back and forth. He's not just been that kind of lazy sort of cheesy self in these events. And so for me, I just want to see some good games. I think this series has potential to bring out a couple longer matches, a couple of games that go back and forth a little bit. We have some, you know, back and forth action and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what kind of comes of this one, for sure, as we see a Liberator on the way and a Stim Pack on the way to follow as well from INnoVation, as a Reaper and 2 Hellions. Could he have grenaded that? No, it was just a bit too much HP, I think. Maybe if he grenaded it like right away, it wouldn't have regen, but I don't think it would have mattered. He gets the kill anyway with the Reaper being used as bait. Hellions will fire on it for the AoE splash to then kill the Creep Tumor. Cool little play that we've been seeing for years upon years now in this matchup. Sorry, a little bit of janky observing there, as an Overlord comes in for the Scout and Rogue. Gonna get some good info. He sees the Liberator, he sees Stim on the way. At the same time, he's got Hellions in his natural mineral line, so this is already going to be a few dead drones. 6 workers down. Make that 7. Make that 8. Not bad at all for 4 of these Hellions. 8 drones, a few Lings, gets the Overlord across the map. I think INnoVation will be pretty happy with the last couple of moments then. As Rogue just going for a pretty fast Baneling Nest at the moment, so that Bane Nest coming through. Obviously, this is not a 3cc from INnoVation. He only just puts the third down now, and then Raxter very quickly to follow up, so maybe he was banking a few minerals that he shouldn't have been as well. But yeah, we have seen also in TvZ, I think worth mentioning, that TvZ has been very very kind of 3cc focused lately. There's been a lot of big bio plays. Obviously, we saw that kind of out of Kira a lot when he had that crazy run in King of Battles. And yeah, just it's fun to see something like double gas focused here instead this time around. Sorry, the Liberator went down, harassing in the natural for one single drone as we follow these Hellions across. They get the extra damage. They get the 3 extra worker kills here on the third base. So not a bad start from INnoVation. Still having some Hellions up. A shame the Liberator didn't do more, but 12 drones dead and definitely putting a hit on Rogue's economy early. As Rogue didn't really do anything early on in this, by the way. He went Bane Nest and now Lair. It's not like he already has Evo chambers down for upgrades. So Rogue doesn't have, like, usually you have either faster mutas and a faster Bane speed, or you have faster upgrades to match the Terran player. And this game, Rogue kind of has neither, which makes me kind of feel like maybe we see INnoVation with the 1-1 attack really overwhelming. If he's going to hit with 1-1 against no Bane speed, no upgrades of his opponent, then, well, that can be straight up deadly. I think Bane speed starts just in time to be done for when 1-1 will finish. I think we're what, like 75 seconds away now? Yes, so Bane speed will be done for 1-1, so it does start up in time. There's still a faster Lair. He's not going to drop down a Spire with this, but I guess it's still Lair first, so you'll still get Bane speed up. Because especially without the Spire, there's then no reason not to be without Banelings in this, right? You should always have those available. And now Rogue starts the melee upgrades. We'll follow these 2 medevacs in. Down the left side, Spellcrawler will fire a couple shots as the medevacs lead into this base. A couple Widow Mines get in here, and we do have our Marines just getting through. An Extractor already taking some damage as Widow Mines going to unburrow, reburrow, even denying the mining rights. I mean, at this point, you've denied it for quite some time. It's a pretty decent Widow Mine shot. And at the same time, Hellions are back on the third base, and INnoVation, he's a drone murderer this game. That's 10 more drones killed. Again, big mining time denial in the main as well on top of that. And this should be a very successful early game overall when you look back over the stats, right? 24 workers now dead from Rogue. You can see he's struggling in terms of supply. He's down in supply. He's only a few workers ahead. He's down in army, so at some point he's going to have to stop rebuilding workers to be able to build the army which he needs. Yeah, definitely a few problems at the moment as more Marines through the center. This medevac going to look for a drop into the main as well. The medevac of INnoVation up through the top side. And these Marines just going to unload in the corner. Single Lin gets picked off, and the Queens here. One goes down, another targeted nice and easily. Now some other Marines going to lift back up into this medevac. As we do have Marines, a couple Widow Mines, etc., making their way down the bottom side. So all the way down the bottom, the few Marines here are going to get into pick off an Ovi. I mean, this is the thing. When you lose drones like this early as Rogue, INnoVation's just going to be able to keep on the pressure from that point on, right? He's just going to be able to keep on attacking. He's going to keep on, just slaughtering you around the map generally. It's so hard to get the momentum back when you've lost so much so early, because you don't even have the units to retake the momentum. It's a big problem as Drilling Claws sets up. Marines will stem in, trying to catch that Queen. Doesn't quite make it there. Ling Bane coming back through, and the medevacs will have to evacuate. Finally, Muta's on the way, and this is at least something that can stop the aggression of INnoVation. But he had to make a decision. Like, he hasn't started 2-2 to be able to start up this side of Mutalists already. Widow Mines will not go off. The Banes do get the connection. So you have to give up 2-2, which just means that to get this amount of Mutas on the field, you're letting the Terran get further ahead in upgrades once more, and that's likely only going to create problems for you once again, where you're going to be trying to deal with the fact that, you're behind on upgrades, and that gives the Terran a big a big timing push once more. So definitely problems in this game for Rogue through and through. I'll see if you can find anything to fix it. A couple of libs on the way up. I don't mind that. Either harassing or just to start dealing with the Mutalist Cloud. That Muta Cloud gets too big. Having a group of Liberators can definitely go a long way to help out. Sent out the front as our Bio Army takes a bit of a stem forward. A few Lings immediately in some trouble. So they get scared away here. Extra Lings up around the top side as 2-2 upgrades about to finish. Drilling Claws as well. I mean, all the good stuff here from INnoVation as Widow Mine moves through. The Lings trying to catch a Marine or so. The rest of these Mutas will make their way up into the main base now. SCV's already falling. 5 workers killed. Now the Lings get to the 12 o'clock base and forcing a lift off. I mean, this is what you need. It's also exactly when the Terran hits that 2-2, right? So you're stopping the Terran from attacking at the point where his attack's going to be most powerful. So what a sign that is. I mean, that is actually massive, honestly. I think that's a pretty big deal. I like it. Good play from Rogue. I mean, he's still down in supply. If this army gets across the map, then this is still problematic. Don't get me wrong. It's still problematic, but, well, let's see where we go from here. Let's see what's next in line as the mutas are going to come back up, grabbing the Sensor Tower nice and quickly. Overseer gets picked off as well. 3 upgrades coming through. INnoVation finally back onto the map. Liberator just been used for harassing, getting a few drone kills. There's one on this bottom side. There's a couple bases forced to pull away at the same time, which is obviously big. It's a lot of lost mining time that you end up with there, so definitely something to be concerned about. A little bit of army in the center, bio in the bottom right. Now a bit more bio to the left as well. Everything else pulling back up. Ling Muta going to launch the counterattack again. Rogue does not want to take a straight up fight. He finally got on, a move towards 2-2 upgrades. His Banes come crashing in. They get some good connections. Okay. Well, the Banes get some good connections there. The Thor shots good as well onto those Mutalisks. Now a few of these Banelings showing up, and they get picked off too. And it's again dealing with these counterattacks. And right now, you're doing a pretty good job of dealing with them, if I'm going to be honest. INnoVation playing some strong moments of this game. Widowmine gets a decent shot on meters too. INnoVation, he's realizing what Rogue is trying to do. Rogue is trying to force bad fights across the map and making things weird and awkward, but not letting it happen. INnoVation, he's not falling for that trick. He's going back across, back home to defend and then attacking when he can. Still a great effort by Rogue though. Shows up again on this third base. Not a lot of units here just yet. Can INnoVation catch these units and stop them from getting away? Only a couple of SCVs down. Now, Rogue is out of there in plenty of time, which is, again, good play by Rogue, but not bad by INnoVation, I would say. Still doing the right things to, again, keep his opponent busy. Widowmine sits in the corner as we do have 3 upgrades. Still building on the engineering bays, plus 2 vehicle plating. Also coming into play as our Lings will continue up the top side. This time INnoVation was sat waiting. He's left a good chunk of units at home, and I like that. I actually think that's the game changer, because if Rogue is so reluctant to fight, what if you just go across the map with an army that's still good in the fight, but not as much as you were before, because it's not like you were kind of taking those fights previously anyway. You just get in on top of this missile turrets, taking that down, opening up options, but now INnoVation is still pushing down this bottom side. It's only the mutas he has to run around chasing. Marauders in the front line. Widowmine's going to get some good shots on Banelings. No, they pulled back away just in time. So that's a big win. Looking forward here. The Baneling's going to continue through. The Thor shots continuing. Widowmine not connecting, but the Thors are still here. Some Lings showed up. 14 SCVs went down. The mutas have taken some hefty damage. There's only a few of them left, so that's obviously just the army back at home. Slowly but surely being able to chip away at everything that was out and around. The rest of this moving down the bottom side. We do have the Fire Force coming in, giving chase to this Ovi. Another attempt to counterattack. More mutas being built. Of course, you're still hard stuck on Ling Bei Muta. You're not going anywhere in terms of army composition here as Rogue. They're still just stuck. No hive in play. Impossible to get there with how much it's going to cost you versus how much you can afford given the circumstances of the game. Yeah, I mean, as Bio continues to push forward right now, it feels like this is perhaps the finishing touches, because this is an army that just isn't getting cleaned up. This counterattacks are not going to pull this army back home anymore, and you're going to start losing bases. This was a position INnoVation's been trying to get into for a very long time. Rogue did a great job of delaying it, but enough is enough, says INnoVation. And as you're going to be seeing, I mean, the mutas get across one more time, but into Marines, Widowmines, Thor shots, and that will do it as INnoVation will grab game number 1. He was winning this for a long time, and again, I got to really say credit to Rogue, because to me, Rogue played a fantastic game to be able to stay in this long. Otherwise, this shouldn't have really ever been able to happen like it did. So, great effort from INnoVation. So he responded in the right ways to not let Rogue back in, but even better effort for Rogue to be able to drag it out that long in the first place anyway, because, again, maybe they should have never been able to go so long for this first game. Bottom left side of the map will be our blue Zerg player, now finding himself down a game. This is Rogue from Generic Green Wings. On the top right, our red Terran INnoVation. And already I kind of feel like we know which maps were picked by which players. Feels like INnoVation got to pick Pillars of Gold. Feels like Rogue probably picked Jaggernatha, because I don't think there's any reason you would pick to play Jaggernatha earlier than you have to as the Terran player. At the very least, you know, make your opponent, you know, have to kind of, you know, like, yeah, you're probably going to have to play it early. You know, it's unlikely that you're going to win 5-0, so you probably have to play it anyway, but there's no reason to then pull it further forward. At least you make your opponent use a match or use a map pick on it, you know? What's up, Andy Man? Thank you so much for the 807 bits. Happy Sunday. Well, happy Sunday to you as well. Thank you so much. This is where early game will do a quick shout out there. As we set ourselves up. Continuing forward for the moment. Now, Hatchcast Pool sets up from Rogue. So he gets that Hatchcast Pool setup underway. A couple drones coming through. Gonna rally into this extractor. Not really much to talk about then. Jaggernatha, of course, we talk about this being a Zerg map because it's just, I want to say it's impossible to rally push on. It really is, right? Like, I think it's fair enough just to say that. It kind of is just impossible to rally push on. Like, how the hell are you meant to rally push on a map that takes so long to move across? It's extremely difficult. Really, really extremely difficult. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a rough one here. I was talking about this earlier, how do you win against a Zerg on this map? And I think a lot of it sometimes, you know, some tricky builds. If you don't win early, I think it's okay just to play, like, super late game and try and figure out what you can do later on in the game as well, right? Like, I think playing super late game, totally possible. You know, if you just mine out base by base, I actually think going super late game is actually good for Terran here because you kind of end up fighting left versus, you know, for one side of the map or left versus right side of the map at a time. And I actually think the way you can get set up is actually really promising for a Terran player. And I've seen it happen before. I mean, we watched Soul versus a Laser, I want to say, during a WardiTV event. And it really was very apparent then. I know, you know, that's not quite INnoVation Rogue, but it's very apparent to me then just what these guys could do. You know, basically Soul pushed this right side, but then he was able to take the left as well, and it just became difficult for the Zerg to fight back to hold those bases. So, yeah, definitely something to look at right now as a couple of Hellions make their way out from INnoVation. That's just going to be seeing our people moving around. Starport on the way in the main base and the command center. 3cc setup. So this is a 3cc pretty quickly, but it's still off kind of like double gas-ish. You know, you go 3cc, second gas pretty quick after that, and then starport. So you're going to be seeing the safety Banshee. Might even be Cloak Banshee as well. He has the gas, had the gas to go Cloak, and he does go Cloak, and that's where his gas went to, as I'm just looking at different parts of the screen at different moments there. Okay. Well, Cloak's on the way, the command center about to finish, and here comes Rogue just scouting into this main, so he's going to get to see everything. Tech Lab, 3cc, Research. Tech Lab here will start stim as well, so really pretty much just all the information you could ever ask for with this Overlord as the Marines finally come in to start tackling it down. We'll get rid of this in the next couple moments. So Ovi will fall. Yeah, I mean, Reaper across the map's just been trying to keep tabs on things as well. Not really much to see. It's abandoned nest early again into the lair, so Rogue being safe just in case of a... I mean, basically what you're being safe for here, you're being safe just in case there's a in case there's like a run by, right? Like in case there's like a roach attack setting up or anything. Sorry, wrong player. You're being safe just in case there's something like a Hellbat attack coming through. So the Banelings keep you safe, and then you just go into that lair, and that's just the plan. That's how we're going about this at the moment. So that's the plan. As Cloak comes up, the Banshee about to pop. That's the second Banshee here about to come out. So yeah, we'll see what the Banshee can get done. Hellion's not finding much either. Again, that early Baneling nest in this scenario doesn't really need it rogue necessarily. But yeah, cool to see that he's happy to play safe. Like, he's not going to play greedy for the sake of playing greedy. I think especially on a map like this, you also can just say, like, hey, like, this is a pretty good map for me if it ends up going late game. You know, why die early and give INnoVation that advantage and potential to end the game earlier just for the sake of getting into the best possible position? Because even going into the mid game in an okay position is better than usual on this map. So I think that's perhaps part of the logic, is these Banshees just won't do anything at all. So they find absolutely nothing as they go running in. I mean, obviously they find these queens, but yeah, I mean, obviously not really any damage to be had there. They'll transfuse each other up. Now these Banshees from INnoVation gonna come back down. And they just get caught again, so really not much being done. Goes into this natural. Is he gonna try and save this Banshee? He will. He gets one more drone. I mean, he's really just stuck between queens. He's gonna try and make his way out. This queen's actually off creep initially, so it will not be quick, but the Spore Crawler's there, and the Spore Crawler finishes it. Yeah, 3 drone kills. Well, I mean, in a way, the Banshee's not as important as usual because there wasn't any aggression on the map, so you didn't have to really use them defensively. It's still just a bit of a shame to see them not really finding anything across the map. Even if you just keep them alive, usually later in the game, you find some good opportunities with those. Spire will be done soon, though, so I guess he was maybe trying to find a chance before the Spire was in play. That's definitely a possibility as well. That's another way of looking at this. Queen's going to sim in, and that is an Overseer going down as Bane runs through. Medivacs lift up, escaping up the top side. And Rogue gathering everything together once more. Spire is about to finish from Rogue in the main base, the Lingbane Queen. On the way out. And yeah, I feel like Rogue's just in a very comfortable spot. So what's INnoVation going to do here? Already building Widow Mines, he's going to play like a Biomine style. I think that's fine. Right, you play a Biomine style here against somebody who is obviously pretty happy to play kind of Lingbane Muta. Biomine very mobile, the Widow Mines do great, that splash damage goes a long way. So yeah, I'm very fine with this so far for INnoVation, I'm very fine with this so far for Rogue. As Drilling Claws comes in, we'll see if INnoVation wants to go for that kind of mega drop play that I'm going to drop Widow Mines absolutely everywhere sort of style, or if he is just going to stick to kind of very vanilla pushes and just maybe splitting armies to attack around the map. The creep spread is already getting out of control, though, so it already, to me, feels as though INnoVation is not going to find many chances to attack in this game. I really don't feel like there's going to be much chance there, as Widow Mine's going to go off, and that's a good few Lings already cleaned out. Bane's crash in for a couple of extra kills, too. This command center up top is going to be able to land eventually. We've got a hatchery down in the bottom corner. That's also going to be up in just a few moments' time. So again, this hatchery up and running. Mutas, Lings making their way up the left-hand side. We will see the Mutas coming back over. Going to grab that Widow Mine kill. So Widow Mine gets picked off. Plante Fortress on this top side will be arguably in some trouble as well. There's enough units here for now, but this is where you're just going to start going one way, then the other is Rogue. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued that Rogue, with so much economy, 95 draws, hasn't started the Infestation Pit and movement toward Hive. To me, that's why the hell not? I may as well just go for this sort of thing, right? See, I'm kind of surprised about that. I feel like going toward Hive is just like a natural given. Like, you don't need to go in. Oh, sorry. There is an Infestation Pit. Then I am just blind. I looked at this production tab or the structure tab and I didn't see it. I apologize. So he is on his way to Hive. Okay, that makes more sense. I was outraged because I was wrong. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? You want to go into Hive, you've got full map control. Why the hell not? You don't need to put everything into units now, and At the end of the day, you're 93 workers, so your economy's already crazy. He is going to fly in. Looks like he wants to try and get rid of the Thor. WardiTV's going to get the Banes. It's not the best for Rogue. It could have been better. I mean, it's a lot lost, right? And the meter's taking some good damage. It's a lot lost when, again, it just could have been that little cleaner, perhaps. And at the end of the day, I also don't think it's a bad thing. Again, with 93 drones, if you're trading, I think you're generally in a good position. I think you're generally in an all-right spot anyway. I don't think you really mind too much what's going on. As INnoVation now pushes down the left, I mean, needs to start getting rid of some of this creep. I'd love to see a drop at the same time to just try and pick away at a base while you're pushing somewhere, because otherwise you're just fighting the creep spread and the entire Zerg army just gets to collect together and fight on creep. To me, that's going to be problematic, but INnoVation is pretty secure that he just wants to go for this. I mean, he's building 3 CCs back at home. He's preparing for what we would call the ultra late game already. So he's already readying himself for that. Or shot onto an Overlord. As the Lings try and run through, Marines are there to deflect. This base will have to lift up though. Banes are going to get here. I mean, there's no way out for these SCVs. Where the hell are they meant to go? Absolutely nowhere. 20 workers down. INnoVation says, well, if your army's over here, I'm going to try and counter, but there are Banelings morphing, so defensive Banelings to the rescue for Rogue. Well, that's the question. Here we go. They're going to start rolling in as everything else splits back. 21 SCVs killed, remember, as INnoVation loses this army. Now, Mutas should be chasing those medevacs down, and honestly, they might get a few before any sort of reinforcements arrive to save the day. I mean, there is nothing to protect. Finally, they get to the Marines. If the Mutas had gone instantly, they for a moment, when continued down south, if they'd continued up right from the get-go, could have done much better there. Here's back up the center, Bio going through. I see a couple creep tumors going down as we do have our Lings counterattacking up to the upper right-hand side here. Just going to get through, and I mean, maybe that's a big problem in itself. We just take a Widowmine shot. INnoVation gets his army up here, cleans up a lot of these Lings. Bio going to stim and try and hold this ramp. Now these Mutas turn back around through the top side. Missile turret will get picked off, and these SCVs are absolutely in some trouble. Things are here to pick away at these Marauders. Marauders taking some hefty damage already, as we do see the Mutas again back down the left-hand side. So Mutas back down the left. Just going to be seeing this Bio army still collecting together. Going to be having these few Lings still moving around. I mean, this is nice. INnoVation is still staying in this, right? Trying to take a 5th base, but as he fights here, we've got Mutas diving the top side, Lings running the natural. And okay, I mean, a lot of these run-bys getting shut down before they get to do much. Rogue having to really pay attention over here. The biggest issue is this top side base, which is absolutely, for now, going to be denied. And the Mutas make their way back around. Drone's going down as INnoVation finds that hatchery kill. A few more Lings get here, and Marauder and Thor won't protect themselves. This Planetary Fortress at least is about to finish up, so it will be able to start protecting itself there as the Mutas come through. Everything gathering back up. Rogue is, I mean, this is the problem for INnoVation. If you can hold 5 bases, then perfect. But typically, holding the 5 bases is not necessarily enough. Typically, it's not going to do it for you, so you got to be pretty careful about this. Fire coming back around. There's a group of Lings up on this top side as well, which will not quite make it anywhere. Again, the problem still stands to me is that Rogue's got a lot of these bases up. Resources lost favor in INnoVation. Again, if you survive on 5 bases, great. But how long do you survive on 5 bases for? All it takes is one run-by to take down a mineral line and a base at the same time, and you're suddenly back on 4. And you're not just back on 4, but you're just struggling in general. Ultra's now on the way too. That's only going to power up the headbutting effect and this trade-out effect of Rogue, making it a little bit difficult for INnoVation to survive each and every time. 4-shot coming in there, pushing the Mutas back, keeping them at bay. INnoVation pushes the bottom right once again. We're just going to be seeing... I mean, this time Ultras are starting to show up, right? And okay, he's got a lack of creep over here. Problem is, if you lose this fight, you lose this right side base. So you've got to be very careful with this, Inno. I think this is okay. A couple Widow Mines, not really shooting on anything too useful. Okay, and Rogue is pushed away, but on a very comfortable set of army supply, right? So probably still feeling good at the moment. Gets down the bottom right. Is going to be able to pick off a hatchery at least. I mean, this is good, right? He's keeping Rogue, I guess, on 6 bases. And again, as long as Rogue's on 6 bases and you're on 5, this is fine. It just feels like a much... It just feels like a much kind of easier game to fall off in as the Terran than it is the Zerg right now. But, well, we'll see. I mean, Ghost on the way up. So INnoVation continues to improve his army as he takes a 5,500 resource lost advantage. Big help there as the mutas will go to the upper left and find a couple Marines. Again, plenty of these Ghosts coming through. Now, another push from INnoVation down the left side. Again, he's rotating from left to right. Here we are. Now the mutas are going to clean out this turret. No, not yet. They're going to be held off. The Ultras do get this right side base, though, and 17 SCVs along the way. As INnoVation gets the left, but now you're talking about a... You know, now this is suddenly a, what? You're now talking about 4 base. Rebuilding the 5th right away, but 4 base against... Well, still 5. 5 for how long? Looks like this base should survive for the moment, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. 10 drones went down here, so Rogue is taking eco hits as well. As the Ultras get back into position yet again. Meter's going to come through, though. This is a big cleanup as well. The Thorpe drops back down, and maybe these Marines actually get out of the medevacs. At least we'll get a few extra kills, especially on the mutas. Bottom right base goes down. INnoVation finds a hatchery. I mean, that's what he needed in the current situation in the game. We'll just run through. Lings from Rogue going to go up the right side. Widow Mine's firing here. 14 drones are down. Bio Ghosts continuing to fight, pushing the Lings away. Needs to protect this base. Needs to get this back up and running, right? No doubt about that. So yeah, absolutely needing this one to get back online. Meanwhile, we've got mutas back to the top left. And they find even more SCVs. INnoVation on 51. You can see the difference now is that he's just trailing off a little bit. You look at what's being lost. You can see the income graph actually favors INnoVation a bit here, but that's also because this base just got back online. So until now, he's been, you know, it was getting worse and worse for him again. And he's definitely brought that back a lot right now. As long as he can get an army up, he can maybe fight this again. Just go back to the left as our Bio Ghost army sets up from INnoVation. Couple changelings go down. It's still gathered up on the left-hand side here. Liberators in production. Trying to get another command center up. Survive in 5 bases against 6. I mean, again, you set a 6,000 resource loss advantage. You can beat down a base like this. Nice Widow Mine shot on some of the mutas as they fly in there. INnoVation survives the scary part where his supply was low. Now gets into a little bit of a stronger, a little bit of a better position here. Something he can perhaps work with, honestly. I'm going to ultra to the left side. We'll see some of these creep teamers being picked away at. Now we're going to be seeing the few Banes getting through there. There was a Ghost in the front that went down. The Widow Mine's helping to clean out. The mutas are going to dive right side, but there's units in position there too. A couple of Ghosts trying to get snipes off initially, but now Army's going to start running up here. Banes from the right side as well. INnoVation's got nowhere to run to. Lifts into the medevac's what he can, but it's not a lot. Mutas are going to come and try and intercept, and there's a big interception incoming. He's going to try and unload on the high ground at least. And Thor goes down instantly. Everything's going to die. Okay, well, Inno didn't really get a base or anything. Rogue gets this top left base up as well, as now Inno's going to try and strike bottom right again. He will get this cancel. Does he get anything more than the cancel? maybe not. A few more links continue to go down. Widow Mines trying to line up. Does go off into the pack of mutas. Hatchery to the right side. Bio still running off to the bottom corner. I mean, this army gets cleaned up now. INnoVation still has another army set to go. Which way is he going to go, though? It feels like it's that impossible task again. But now there's bases on the left, bases on the right. He's going to try and secure his own top left base. And that just draws INnoVation out even further. I mean, he's held this base for a long time, but now he's maybe got to start focusing on the top left bases, including this one that the Zerg has, to take it back under his own control. Else he runs out of economy, and the Zerg inefficiency doesn't really matter. INnoVation missing army supply right now. Doesn't really have much, as the Libs are going to try and fight. A couple of Ghosts are going to line up what they can. There's more units coming from the center of the map. They'll be coming in from the right side in a moment or two. Here they are. And now it's a flanking in this INnoVation army, which just falls apart. Yeah, that's going to do it, isn't it? GG from INnoVation. His army supply just fell apart at the end here. Let me quickly do a little rewind, and let's see if there's something I just missed out on. Because it felt like his army supply disappeared very quickly out of nowhere. He's on 90 army supply. 82. Still 82. He lost this medevac. That brings him down. Oh, that medevac survives. I just wondering if there's like something crazy. He's on 90 army supply still. No, it is just this fight that brings him down so much. I just thought he maybe like lost like a couple too many things already. And he just loses a lot because there's just not enough there compared to what the Zerg has. And the flank comes in, and then it's a very one-sided fight. INnoVation just ran out of stuff in the end, and Rogue ties it up 1-1 here on Jack Natha. As we have in the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player here on Submarine is Rogue, taking on the red Terran in the bottom right-hand side. It's KaiZ Gaming's INnoVation. Alright, game 3 of the best of 9. Submarine definitely feels like we went INnoVation, Rogue, INnoVation on the map picks here. So INnoVation's chance maybe to retake the lead on his series, defend his map pick yet again. Would be a good way to go, get up to that 2-1 advantage. I feel like that 2-1 is already a point at which you're like, oh, this is like a nice little position to be in. As the barracks goes down from Inno, we get this set up. Just going to be seeing hatchery down, gas and pool, I think, to follow, and very standard stuff, of course. Submarine, very small map. You got to be careful as the Terran player. You've got to be careful as the Terran player of roaches, as the Zerg of just that continuous rallied push. So, all things to look at. Barracks is building here, finishing from INnoVation. Reaper on the way out immediately is going to rally out to the upper left-hand side as Rogue will continue down to the bottom right as well. Alright, well, game sets up a little bit. Depot is going to drop down. Just going to be seen our command center in the natural. SCV going to the upper left as well, so SCV on a little bit of a journey. Couple queens starting up. And, yeah, really a nice safe opening from both. So far, I say safe, but, you know, very standard opening maybe is what I should be saying. Not a lot going on just yet is what I really want to say, right? This is very just vanilla gameplay. Very uninteresting in terms of diversity, but very good if you just want to play like a nice standard style. Which is cool for Submarine. Of course, I think a lot of Submarine depends on what this turns into in the end, more so than the exact ways in which things open. Reaper up in the upper left is making its way around, obviously dances with those lings initially, checking for a third hatch, doesn't see it so far. I think you'd quite like to see that, just for confirmation that there's not something funky on two bases happening. Starport is on the way here from INnoVation in the main. He has gone 3cc off 1 gas, which to me is bonkers. He's going to do the safe variation of it, where he's going to probably get the tech lab on this Starport and use it for a single Banshee with no cloak. He's also going to float this barracks and find no Overlord over here. Overlord's over here instead, so misses the opportunity for a kill there. Yeah, I imagine this is going to be a Banshee without cloak, and then it does give you that safety layer against potential roach play. Tech lab starts in the Starports. Could it be cloak? No, I don't think so. He's got gas on the low ground as well now. I guess maybe it could be cloak, similar as the previous game. Obviously, last game the cloak Banshees really didn't do all that much, and yeah, well, actually, really did nothing at all. So yeah, that's going to be seeing our stim coming up here from INnoVation. A couple of Marines will kill the Overlord. A Viking started, so it's just stim and a Viking. Did the Overlord get to see stim? Yeah, so the Overlord getting to see stim pretty much tells you this can't be a Banshee, I think, because of the gas count. Or maybe it could be the Banshee, but it's definitely not going to be cloak, right? So that gives you that extra info for sure. And as the Baneling Nest sets up from Rogue on the natural. This time, again, Baneling Nest before. I mean, same build as the last 2 games from Rogue. Baneling Nest before anything else, then probably into the lair, and then upgrades to follow. And just playing very safe. At some point, INnoVation, he's hoping that INnoVation goes like hyper-aggressive Hellbat attack or so, and is able to do something with that, but yeah, right now, that's just not a thing. Right now, that is just not a thing, as the Viking is here to pick away at this Overlord. Damage being done. The Hellions wanting to push up there, but no success just yet as the Viking pulls back around the right side. These Hellions go into the middle of the map too. Alright, well, again, nothing crazy for the first 5 minutes of Submarine. Now I think it's fair to say that nothing ridiculous is happening. The thing is, Submarine is still that weird map, because now this is where the Terran should get into a really comfortable position. A lot of rally pushing to be done, short rush distance, short reinforcements distance. To me, this is like, you know, INnoVation should be looking at this, and he's, you know, if he was an emoji right now, he's got like little hardy eyes on, because he is, he's exactly where he wants to be. Rogue doesn't do anything to him early game. He gets set up exactly how he wanted, with a bit of a faster 3cc than what you usually see on Submarine. And now here we go, right? Now, you know, he's even getting Overlord kills. All of this powers up that eventual push, which is already powered up due to the nature and the size of the map. As Rogue loses yet another Ovi. INnoVation trickling away with some Marine production. A couple more depots starting. I feel like he might have been supply blocked at 1.2. He's been not perfect, but again, overall, I think the setup is still pretty good as Lings, Queens chipping away at those rocks. The Viking on the top side from INnoVation patrolling a little bit, and the Hydralisk Den is down in the top side of the map here as well. So again, that Hydra Den down. 8 more Banelings continuing to morph as the Lings get here, picking off those rocks. Hellions will come through and pick off a couple of creep tumors. A bit of back and forth here still. Lings still chasing in to try and grab those Hellions. Viking up the top side as tanks will siege. Creep tumors being scanned, being picked away at. Alright, well, I like what Rogue's already doing, fighting around the army instead of into it. It's something he did really well on map 1 in Pillars of Gold, and in map 2 as well, but in game 1, it was very obvious how much he tried to do that and how successful it was compared to, you know, how far behind he was and how long he was able to survive. His Lings make a play right now. The tank actually on siege in the wall, so the Lings got there without taking as much damage as it looked as though they would initially. SCVs, I mean, that's 2 tank kills. I mean, that's a huge deal. Meanwhile, at the front, the Banes are protecting, so Ling run by here from Rogue is real good to save the day. And this actually puts some INnoVation into a tricky little position. I mean, that's 2 siege tanks, and that really depowers the follow-up push, whatever it may have been. And now Hydra's on the way out, especially good to have denied those tanks then, because now Hydras are going to be more effective as Lings get into the natural expansion again. Equal upgrades now. It's not 0-0 against 1-1 anymore. Now it's 1-1 each. As those Lings slip into the natural mineral line, a few of those SCVs already dropping. A Marine goes down, another SCV. Another few Lings go into the main. And they're going to get a few extra kills as well. Those Marines still falling here. As I do have Tank Marine from INnoVation at the front. Up toward the top side. Hydralisk coming in. +2 melee coming up. 11 drones on the way out. Those tanks do turn to kill off those changelings, sorry. So gets rid of those nice and quickly. Still the rest of this from INnoVation up through the top. Aliens out down the bottom. Marines are going to stem forward. Queen goes down. Creep Jimmers go down. A lot of damage done as these few Banes start to run through. Marine's going to load up into the medevacs. I'm just going to be seeing Marine Tank of Inno still out in the front lines. Playing Hydra on the top side, taking some damage at the Marines and Hellbats around the left. You see these Lings going to run forward here and going to be able to protect. A few tank shots are good to fire on these Zerglings, and just going to be seeing the extra Banes stand up right now as well. Marines are going to stem in, and quite a few Banes are being picked away at. On the left side, Marines and Hellbats are going to move forward, and a Queen goes down, and the Zerglings going down as well, and just going to be seeing a few Banes still crashing in. Hydra's showing up. INnoVation's aggression, I still feel is going well. You've still got this army on the right side right now. 2-2 against 1-1 is obviously pretty well set up as well in this game. So pretty good setup in terms of upgrades and stuff. And just going to see this medevac off to the side. Hellbat, handful of Marines chased away there. Now, this tank's going to siege up, and this Hydra Bane forces ready to come through. A few of these Banes sniped down immediately. Hydra's picked up. A couple other Banes being picked away at as well. Just about gets them back and keeps them alive. The other Marines setting up too. And I see Rogue, a couple of Lurkers already on the way out. Getting ready to rally. As 6 Lurkers on the way up. I mean, if you get to Lurkers, that's obviously the point where you maybe start to defend this. Viper's on the way too. The problem is those Lurkers don't have the upgrades they need in just yet. INnoVation's gone a bit more back on track from where he once was. And there was some moments where those counterattacks from Rogue were looking very dangerous, very scary, but now not so much. As he runs in off creep as well to be able to fight this. He knows he needs to clean it up, otherwise it's going to continue to put him into a choke. And a choke that then he might not ever be able to break out of. INnoVation leading in supply as, well, the tanks are just going to push further forward. The problem is he didn't clean out anywhere near enough of this. And now the tanks are going to get a siege. It's going to push the Lurkers back, and he's going to continue to improve on this position. He's even going to stem into those Lurkers. He knows he can clean them out and push them away, and this base is basically forfeit. You can't save that now. Here come the Vipers to maybe try and save the day. There aren't even any Banelings ready to go, so Rogue has no Banelings to fight this army with. This hatchery will go down. INnoVation says, well, maybe I'll take a few Lurkers down with me, although that got a little bit more expensive than I think he was originally expecting. Tanks get abducted in. These Lurkers will continue to fire, and Marines still being picked away at as we have more army of INnoVation moving up to the top. These few tanks going to earn siege and go elsewhere. 3-3 on the way up. I'm just going to be seeing INnoVation. Marine medevac tank into the center here. He just doesn't have enough. Yeah, I think that became quite obvious. This push of INnoVation did so much. Resources lost is probably a nightmare. 7,000 already. Yeah, Rogue just didn't get to the Lurkers soon enough or in a position that was good enough to play from. And so INnoVation will retake the lead in the best of 9. Top right, our blue Zerg from Genetic Greenwings down in the series for the second time. And he tied it up on his map pick once again. It's Rogue. And we play on Oxide for map number 4. Some fun games, honestly, really back and forth. I love the counterattacks that Rogue is bringing. I feel like INnoVation got a bit much momentum there. Getting to Lurkers is always going to be difficult on Submarine, and Rogue didn't quite make it that time, but definitely potential for the future as our bottom left Terran player is, of course, INnoVation, giving us some of the Terran action that's been very fun to watch so far. Yeah, and again, First 3 maps of the best of 9 have been great. Map number 4 right now to keep the games a rolling. So Overlord making his way through the top, checking for potential proxy location there, obviously, so being pretty cautious with that. Wolfie continues down through the bottom of the map here. Couple drones on the way, spawning pool setting up. Reaper on the way from INnoVation. And that's where we are at right now. Let's see what the Reaper goes for. What's funny is that, obviously, it feels tough for INnoVation to mix it up at all because Rogue is playing extremely safely, right? You know, he's playing that early Baneling Nest every game, which means it's really hard to really get anything done. So you don't really have much choice as INnoVation, but to keep on playing like fairly passive, like a few Hellions and then a bit of harassment from the starport. But, you know, in terms of like dropping an armory and going all out aggressive with like a Hellbat attack, that's not on the cards until Rogue starts mixing up the build a little bit. Because as long as that Baneling Nest comes down early and safely, you're just not going to achieve trying to do anything else here. So, this Reaper comes up, a drone does get to the extractor. Able to build that quite nicely here. We see a little bit of back and forth. Reaper and Lings going in and at each other. Gets a Ling kill. Queen pops out. Reaper taking some hits. All of command centers building at home. One of the natural, one the 3cc. And we do have our factory about to finish up in the main base. There's our starport. So it's just 3cc off 1 gas. So INnoVation will just go for the macro-focused opening. And let's see what Rogue does. Again, if he builds that Bane Nest early, this is perfect for INnoVation, because unless you turn it into something aggressive, that early Bane Nest ain't going to punish the 3cc. And INnoVation is not going to do anything that Rogue actually needs the early Baneling Nest for. So maybe in that regard, it's a good time for Rogue to switch this up a little bit even. Maybe, oh maybe. The extra drones coming into play. And that's the last, so no Bane Nest this time. So there is the switch up from Rogue, at least, that I felt had to come at some stage. We'll see if INnoVation can identify that and maybe make use of it to be aggressive with in future games as well, because I think that's maybe... I think that has potential to be a big talking point of this series. For sure. Impact continues to tick along here. We do have a couple of Hellions and the Reaper moving around. That's Viking of INnoVation. Around the left is looking for Ovies, and there are some to pick off. He's going to find one right here. The other is on this far right-hand side, so there's definitely a couple of options. We'll see if he finds the second one. Don't know if that's a common place to sit the Overlord number 2, so it's possible that INnoVation... You can see he's rallied over here right now. He's not really expecting another one on the bottom half of the map. INnoVation, I was going to say for a moment, just a single engineering bear is like aggression, but no, he drops a second one. Yeah, not much to say, guys. INnoVation's obviously very happy to get into this macro game, as is Rogue. His Bane Nest coming up, Lara's done, and he drops a Spire as well. So the only thing here is obviously Bane Speed's not going to be done for a while. Obviously no 1-1 upgrade super early for the Terran, but maybe with the first couple of medevacs there's some potential to do something. The medevacs are maybe on the way soon. I mean, the biggest problem is there isn't enough Marines right now to really make use of medevacs, right? I guess by the time, I mean, these Marines are going to start reactoring now, so there should be a double drop available shortly. And if that double drop can come across, even if you just force Bane lanes before the Spire is done, that's gas that goes into Bane lanes, meaning less gas that goes into Mutalisks, which obviously slows down the tech as well. So that'd be great if INnoVation could do something like that in the next minute or so when these medevacs pop and they go across the map. And force some Bane lanes, that would be fantastic. And even more likely to do that when the Hellions are still alive, because the Hellions themselves are a pretty good threat here, right? They're a pretty big threat that can absolutely get some work done. Hellions done around creep, still pushing out the front. Queen's back up to the top side, Vikings to the left as well. Just going to see some more mutas building and a few more lings. Alien speed on the way up, as you do see these Hellions over on the left. Over on the right, sorry. So they're going to push through again. Viking's still around, by the way. I mean, this is going to be its second Overlord kill of the game, so it's not been super successful, but it's still been okay. I think Zamita's going to dive into this army that's made its way up here, and this is not going to go great. A lot of mutas taking damage. The Hellions here to protect. I mean, here's the thing. I said, what if he comes up and he forces Banes before the mutas? What if Rogue spends all of his gas on mutas and can't afford Banes? Oh my god, Reinforcements getting some good catches here as well. And now 1-1's kicking in. So these fights are only going to start going worse. Wow, INnoVation just kills so much here. Gets that 4th base as well, and Rogue has to rebuild that over to the side. Up, Hellion Marine tank coming all the way through the top side of the map right now. A couple of Ovies in some trouble. Hellions morph into Hellbats, and, well, Queen's still taking some shots. I mean, this is just going to fall apart. Yeah, this push up top left from INnoVation was just a little bit too good. Let's just rewind it and just see. It's a weird moment. Like, Rogue just built all these mutas, and he's just, I don't know why, he's just not expecting this attack in the slightest. He's making lings, but lings just do not cut it in this fight. I mean, this is literally 20 lings and 5 mutas. It's not even that overwhelming. And they run in, the tank gets a huge shot off the front line, so the lings are going down quick, and then the Hellions show up, and that's the big part of this, because now the lings don't last any time at all, and 5 mutas are not overwhelming against what is still 12 Marines. And then obviously we saw more mutas going down and reinforcements, upgrades kick in, INnoVation keeps on the aggression, and that is that. INnoVation opens up the advantage to a 3-1 lead now. INnoVation 3, Rogue 1 in this best of 9. As we start off, actually, gonna swap the scoreboard around here. There we go. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Rogue from Generic Greenwings. He is down 1-3. Dangerous territory, because if you lose another map, you're then talking about being, your opponent being on match point, and then there's 0 mistakes allowed to be made. So gotta be careful about that. Is in the top left-hand side, our red Terran player from KaiZ Gaming is INnoVation. Alright, so as we get this up and running, we are going to see a Proxy Rex play for INnoVation. 2 racks over on the right-hand side of Lightshade in these early few minutes. Again, a couple of racks up over on the right side. The drone scout from Rogue is good, and he finds it. Nice find. It took a moment to realize it was there. They're right up against the wall. I mean, very important nowadays to get your SCVs in positions where they can't be hit as easily. As I think INnoVation's just going to let this first SCV finish, and then he's going to come and he's going to just take over this job, but he loses an SCV. Okay, but he gets as much... He doesn't slow down the barracks build time or anything, so that's good. The Marines here can actually pop out into this corner, I think, and then the drones are not actually that well set up to fight this. No, he cancels and rebuilds. Yeah, the drones actually put themselves in that corner to stop it from happening. So the cancel rebuild is maybe smart to try and line these units up together. He actually now goes into a Reaper instead, so INnoVation changing his mind based on it being scouted. And kind of improvising on the fly. He's going to lift a Rax up. He's just going to build a Reaper, and that will be that. Rogue loses some mine time, but it's obviously great to defend proxy Rax like this, forcing your opponent into a horrible setup. This is obviously not where INnoVation wants to be in the slightest, so yeah, high ground CC as well. All these other things he has to now do to stay safe are going to come back around and going to be hurting a little bit. Will this be up on YouTube? Question from the Twitch chat. Yeah, probably going to be tomorrow's video, this series. It's been pretty good so far, even though for the rest of it is crap. I think it deserves a YouTube upload. So, yeah, probably going to go up... I'm going to say tomorrow. I might change the order of things for some reason or something, but, yeah, probably going to be tomorrow's upload is the plan. So, yeah, that's youtube.com/WardiTV if you don't already subscribe there. Do check it out. Goes a long way to helping us as we're pushing for 35,000 YouTube subs by the end of the year. We are about 4,500 away. Sounds like a lot, but I believe. Third CC from INnoVation in the main base. A couple of extra racks will set up. The factory begins to build a reactor. And this ranks of INnoVation just continues to fly home, so yeah, I mean, just trying to play some kind of recovery mode here, right? It's definitely been a weird setup. It's definitely not been the way that INnoVation really wanted this to go in the slightest, so he's just trying to play improv, and you can just see he's got no units out on the map for such a long time. I mean, he's actually gone into the factory, but it's building its own reactor, so he's only just now going to be able to start Hellions. So this just gives Rogue full control. I mean, this Reaper's the only thing out here, and in fairness, it picks off a Zergling. That's nice. Rogue has not rushed out to a third hatchery or anything. He will take it now. Let's see what Rogue does next. I imagine... What's he actually been able to see, Rogue? Not a lot, right? I mean, that's the problem. Rogue hasn't seen anything, so he's been playing safe. So he's maybe not gone as far ahead as he maybe could have done. The only thing he did know is these racks backed away. So I think he knows it's an expand, but he doesn't know if it's like an expand into aggression, or he definitely doesn't know about the 3cc, right? So that's what he's really missing out on. Not knowing about the third command center is a big, big problem. So then you can't really... Yeah, now you're going to build a Baneland nest for safety's sake, and we've kind of talked about this, right? INnoVation, if he doesn't go for like an armory and Hellbats, this just gives him a bit of a chance to catch up, because it's an investment into safety that then isn't really necessary. Stimpack is halfway done. The starport from INnoVation building in the main base as these few Hellions will turn around up the top. Starport's about to finish, hop over to that reactor, and okay, I mean, INnoVation down by about 14 workers. That's obviously more than he would like it to be, but you know, again, he's got that 3cc work, and he's got Triple Mule putting the, you know, putting the work in. And he's trying to keep that economy even as possible. Flower on the way from Rogue. And again, we've kind of seen this one before, as I imagine he's going to make an attempt to get into a third, into like a fast set of mutalisks again. Sorry, I don't know where the third was coming from. I think I was thinking about the, yeah, I'm not sure. I think I was thinking about him taking the third base location, you know, INnoVation moving out to take that. Anyway, enough of me rattling on. That's the armory. So this is actually going to turn into something aggressive, right? Because there's no upgrades. That's not an armory for 2-2. That's an armory to morph in Hellbats. So he's going to try and deal damage with this push. Well, that's where that Baneland Nest of Rogue is going to become useful, as long as he actually morphs in some Banes. Right now he hasn't done so. He hasn't seen the need to. And I don't necessarily disagree. Still no Spire, no Lair Tech in general. Now some Bane start to morph. Good call from Rogue. A necessary call, really, like I say, to be able to survive this. I think that's absolutely necessary, as here we go, pushing forward. Marine's going to get in, gets an Overlord to start. Some Hellbats coming through, just going to see the single Bane connect. Another couple Banes trying to get it in on top of those Marines. Marines lift up, the Hellbats continue to fight, and now Hellbats getting cleaned out. These other Marines unloading here off to the right side, and a couple crew teamers setting up. Good defense from Rogue. really minimizing anything from being lost there. Fabulous Den is building up on that right-hand side. We're going to see a lot more Marines and Widow Mines coming across to reinforce this side of the map. SCV still producing. Hydralisk Den from Rogue ticking along here as well. Fourth hatch is down. It's a lot of units that gather up from INnoVation and down the right side. And we move, and his Zergling gets picked off already. A few Banes trying to move in here. He does manage to lift up into the Medivacs, but again, it's not really what INnoVation wants. INnoVation wants to be making progress. He wants to get forward. He's on a little bit of a supply lead, but I also look at this and I say, well, Rogue's actually got faster melee upgrades, so he's going to be able to continue denying the damage very easily because INnoVation's not going to be able to fight down in upgrades very well. Mines don't have drilling claws, so it's a slow burrow, but this isn't actually so bad. One drone maybe could have gone to the extractor to save itself, and now Rogue fixes up the mining. So yeah, this Medivac gets away, but the Widow Mines don't do much. INnoVation's still pushing the right side at the same time. Lightshade is one of those shorter rush distance maps. We'll see a couple of Widow Mines setting up, actually connecting on the Banelings quite well. Yeah, one of the shorter rush distance maps here, Lightshade's pushing from this third to the right side works well. We are just on 5 racks. Second factory is down, so we are going to be seeing drilling claws soon. Where is that second factory? There it is, building the tech lab as I speak. So like I said, drilling claws will be the next stage of this. Unless he switches to tanks because of the Hydras. That is the other possibility here. I think he's going to go drilling claws first, and then he's going to realize the Hydras are coming, and then he's probably going to start siege tank production, if he starts it at all. That's how I imagine things going, as a couple Widow Mines down the bottom side. We'll see this from INnoVation pushing through. Gonna get forward here and could potentially scan for some creep spread. Widow Mine's gonna get a couple drones this time, but again, well handled by Rogue, honestly. Yeah, the problem is he's pushed this right side so much that to go anywhere else, there's so much creep in front of him. So, yeah, trying to push through the center, there's just creep spread sat waiting, and I don't even think that's a bad cleanup for Rogue. He cleans up a lot and, well, uses up a few Banes, but, well, whatever. He needs to remember that these Widow Mines are here, though. He's not actually cleaned those up just yet, but here comes the Overseer to save the day. And that's a big no to those Widow Mines. Not able to get anything extra at the end. Infestation Pit and the Lurker Den on the way down in the main base. There's Rogue showing us the intentions of the late game. Get up to Hive, get up to Lurkers, get those Lurker upgrades, and that's how he's going to play this out. And well, INnoVation, he doesn't look like he's going to break Rogue before getting here this time. There's still timings where Rogue is going to be a bit weaker. But right now, this is getting worse and worse. Like, these Widow Mines are doing less and less every single time. I mean, they didn't do much to start with, and yet they're still finding ways to do less and less. Now it's getting to the point where those Widow Mine drops aren't doing anything, and so maybe you have to give them up. And again, maybe you start thinking about siege tanks, because Widow Mines do not do anything against the Lurkers. Against the Hydras, it's okay. You can make it work a bit, but against Lurkers, they're not going to help at all. He is going to start up Liberator production, so he'll go for Libs initially. We'll see if he just uses those for harassment, or if he really makes a bid to utilize them in the much later stages of this game. A couple of options, I suppose. Reason Widow Mine's coming down, a bunch of creep being cleaned out. We've got a bit of a push around the left as well. As Rogue is defending and maybe pushing. You know, I was commenting on the creep, but actually it's been halted, and Rogue's not done a great job of re-establishing the creep spread. You know, up this right side, it's starting to get going. On this bottom side, it feels like it's come to a standstill. So it's quite important to get creep on the bottom, because that's where you're going to take the alternate 4th base, / 5th base, of course. You know, if I say alternate 4th in case this one goes down, you rely on this, right? But here's the 5th base as well. As obviously, you know, goes up to 4 bases, so it's actually kind of important to have a 5th base. I mean, you could argue that that's maybe even late here from Rogue, all things considered. So yeah, the creep is definitely lacking, and it's funny because I feel like the creep was, you know, 2 minutes. It's just the same as it was 2 or 3 minutes ago, and 2 or 3 minutes ago it was good. But for this stage of the game, it's not so good, especially on a smaller map where the little bit of creep he has is actually only like a scan away from being gone. So Moro's left in the front. The Banes were manually trying to target the Marines, but it's off creep. You're chasing through concussive shell Marauders. Your Banes are going to get slowed. They're not going to be useful. Rogue, I think, the better choice to back away from that fight. Both players will get to be maxed out. As INnoVation makes another push down this bottom side, Widowmine's cleaned out immediately. That's my biggest issue for Inno. He's trading well overall, but there's definitely been a lot of things that just didn't really do much at the end of the day. I mean, we're borderline ready to go into Lurkers very soon as well, so Inno needs to make sure that was a bad fight for Rogue. Bane's just rolled into Marauders. The Marines wonder if they probably couldn't have stuck around, but yeah, nice to get rid of the Banes on Marauders. Yeah, what I'm about to say, the Lurkers are about to come online because the Seismic Spines is about to be here, so Rogue is about to hit a whole new level of this game. We're finally going to see Rogue in a completely different stance to what he's been in for the rest of this. So that's kind of a big deal, as a little bit of Lane Bane Hydra relocates around the right side. Pushing down the right side, a few creep teamers going down. The Lings and the Lurkers will continue to push up, and they're going to catch these SCVs. Not Mineral walking away. Great catch. Well, now the Baneling's there, so they're going to die no matter what. Well, it's going to turn into a bit of a base trade because Rogue's going to lose the right side. So I talked about that Suedo 5th base maybe being the follow-up 4th. That will absolutely be the case here. Can he even defend the natural, though? Bane Nest goes down. That's a problem. No Balin production available. And yeah, that is a huge issue for Rogue, who is down in army supply right now and losing production structures. Okay, Vipers are going to be a big part of this. Blinding Clouds to help the Banelings get in reach of the army. Didn't do that much. I mean, you have cleaned out an even amount of SCVs across the map. The third base of INnoVation now not mining. Lurkers will defend the main. Parasitic Bomb gets a couple of medevacs. You need to defend this low ground as well, and Lurkers will do that. This base over here is still alive. That's something that you imagine INnoVation will back off to finish off. And you survive on 3 bases. Well, the Terran is going to lose some more units here. He's going to get up to 4 bases, I guess. So a base advantage for INnoVation. A supply lead at the moment. Looking good for INnoVation in game number 5, huh? Wow, this really broke out of nowhere. Just Rogue getting very aggressive, but INnoVation's counter came in full force, and he's just able to get more done in the end. The Lurkers obviously stop him eventually, but yeah, he ran. I mean, just Rogue ran out of steam on this side because there wasn't really Banelings or anything to keep pushing through everything. Love these Parasitic Bombs, though. Cleaned up a lot of medevacs, I gotta say. Now, that's a pretty big deal. Medevacs are a big part of the healing here, and if you're having to rebuild medevacs, you're not rebuilding into Liberators or anything to help. Alright. Well, Lurkers are burrowed again. The one thing we have now that we are on 11 Lurkers is maybe what do you have to fight Lurkers properly? Multi-pronged aggression? I mean, that's a very tough thing to rely on against someone like Rogue. And you just don't have the tech units right now. The Widow Mines don't do much. Another Parasitic Bomb is going to lay victim to 2 more medevacs. Now we've got a big drop over here. Going to try and find its way into the main base. This double Spore here. He's going to turn back around and go for this base. He sees just 1 Lurker, so he will drop for it and he will get it. And I think this is how you do fight against this kind of an army. A lot of drones going down. 15, 16, 17 workers dead. INnoVation gets a lot of damage done before the Lurkers get back here. Now Rogue Zico is really hurting. 37 drones left in the game. And it's INnoVation this and INnoVation that right now as he looks to maybe go up onto match point in this best of 9. 4-1 lead. Need 5 to win. Rogue gonna counterattack. Okay, here's my big problem for Inno. I know the army supply is still good from etc. If these Lurkers get sieged up in a position Inno has to fight into, I still don't foresee this being a good fight for INnoVation. Right? Those Lurkers, maybe if you do this, come in from 2 different sides, he gets burrowed up for the moment, making every Lurker that he can. Even more Lurkers about to show up here. This is Lurkers to try and save the day. There are Blinding Clouds available too, so you can also nullify the effectiveness of the bio as Lurkers actually burrow over here. They're going to start getting some units. There's the scan. But the Lurkers have moved their way up, and now INnoVation's taking more free damage. A few Banes showing up as well. He's losing a lot of INnoVation, and the Lurkers for now will do their job. The Blinding Cloud to help on the right-hand side. Lurkers are going to keep pushing forward from Rogue, and like I said, he needs an answer to these Lurkers. If he gets the answer, he's won the game. Right now, his answer is to go back across the map, though. So what's he going to do to actually stop these? Liberators on the way. I mean, a couple of those don't really help because of the Vipers, though. Can Rogue still win this? Right now, this siege position says, yes, he might be able to. He doesn't have a lot of production, but what he does have is coming through to defend against these Marauders. A few Lurkers back home as well. And he defends. He's denying this third base. There's an orbital up here, so there's still mining out on the map for INnoVation. Parasitic Bomb just going to tag the medevac that has Widow Mines in, so it's going to be low HP by the time it gets across the map. Loses this orbital. Rogue doesn't know about this base, but he's going to find it now, so he's going to deny all of these SCVs. Suddenly INnoVation has basically 2 mineral patches of mining remaining. He's not mining anywhere any longer. So Rogue has denied all the extra bases of INnoVation here. This is a big siege up from these Liberators. The Lurkers realize it. They back away. He's going to get burrowed up. INnoVation's going to chase down the ramp. He's going to try and fight it, but he has to come around these rocks, which means the Lurkers get a lot of damage done. And it's a lot of bio that falls in the trade out, and Rogue is coming out of this ahead on army supply. SCV count in the gutter. INnoVation nowhere to mine from. What a turnaround from Rogue. You know, this was always the weakness of his army. You know, Rogue gets to a good lurker count, and there was no answer to these lurkers. Wow. Looks like that's going to be a... I can't really believe it. I think it's going to be a map win for Rogue. GG, there it is. It's done. INnoVation's army never teched up to deal with the lurkers properly. A couple libs here, no siege tanks, that was it. And so if those lurkers get into high enough numbers, into an aggressive enough position that you have to fight them, you can't just fight around them, then Rogue can force checkmate, and that's what he got. What a way to fight out of a brutal position. Rogue gets one back, makes a 2-3 scoreline in the best of 9. As I am not changing scene, here we go. We will swap to the next map. We start off to the top left-hand side. Chance to tie it up and really make a series out of this. It's Rogue taking on in the bottom right. Do you have the red Terran player, INnoVation. Map 6 of this best of 9. Going to Death Aura. Fun games. Really fun games, actually. Like, this has been an awesome series. This has been extremely fun. I'm glad I actually let the Twitch chat pick which series we casted today, to then go up on the YouTube channel and stuff. And this one was absolutely an excellent choice. It's been a hell of a series. I'm really glad we got to cover this one. Not that we won't necessarily cover the others, but yeah, it's been a pleasure to cast some of this TvZ so far. Drone coming out of Scout, of course. Last game, remember, started with that 2-rack, so Rogue's just being safe and cautious here. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even really feel like Rogue. Safe, cautious, very careful, you know, scouting every game, playing with that early Bane nest pretty much every game. He is being a very safe Zerg player today. It just doesn't feel like Rogue. He's usually bringing the aggression, switching things up, making it weird. To me, this is just not really Rogue at all, but I kind of like it, you know? It's a Rogue that says, you know what, let's play a serious macro game, dude. I'm sick of losing to you in GSL and stuff. I've got something to prove in this. And yeah, okay, he was down 3-1 not so long ago, but now it's 3-2. And who knows what, I mean, never count. When it's the 2 players of this kind of caliber, I don't think you can ever really count any of them or either of them out of the series unless one player is clearly just having like a horrific day. And, you know, the only way they can win a map is by, you know, picking up a little bit of a cheesy victory or something along those lines, you know? Never count players like this out because they will always show up sometimes and turn it on. And yeah, the 3-1 deficit is... It seems like a lot, but you got to think about it. It's like you got to go 4-1 from there, but maybe you've gotten rid of some of your worst maps. You're learning as the games go by as well. Ripper is going to get pushed out the right-hand side. I feel Ling's at the front. Ling's speed is on the way from Rogue. These few extra drones going to be picked away. Ad Factory is about to finish up on the main. Just going to be seeing the Reaper of INnoVation hanging out the front as well. Hatchery over on the right-hand side, and just going to be seeing our Stimpack setting up from INnoVation. Creep tumor. Feelings. Queen gets in here, pushing the Reaper back down through the center of the map. Stimpak starts up from INnoVation as well in the main. What's the setup right now as our Overlord speed continues up? I'm just going to be seeing the starport finishing in the main in a few moments. So again, a few extra Marines continuing out. And INnoVation out down the bottom side. Overlord speed about to complete. Couple of Queens on the way. Yeah, Stimpak coming through as well right now. This is pretty fun. INnoVation's opening with this 2-1-1 setup, right? And obviously every now and again this can do very well. Rogue goes for an in-base Evo chamber, so he's obviously invested into that Overlord speed, which allows him to know exactly what's going on. He sees the rack still in the reactor, and as far as he cares, he doesn't even care about the second racks, because what this tells him is it's still Marine production. Likely to be 2-1-1, but even if it's just 1-1-1 with Marine heavy, a carapace upgrade is always going to be useful, because a carapace upgrade is going to do a lot for you in these early stages of the game. As Marines load up into medevacs, and they will make their way out across to the upper left-hand side. So here we go. The drop across, we'll see how Rogue looks to defend it. 16 Lings, Queen, couple of Queens, carapace, all of that setting up at the moment here. So all of that already on the way. The Marines of INnoVation just going to hang around the left-hand side. Pushing up to the top. And getting set to go still as this Marine's going to force things back a little bit. Building up on the main base. Hatchery goes down. Gonna see these other Lings and Mutas coming through. Marines to the frontier, gonna grab a Zergling. Well, Medevac's gonna load up, backing away. Bane's gonna finish on the top side, and just gonna see a few more Marines unloading here off on the right. A lot more Marine Widowmine continuing through, and yeah, hatchery about halfway done here from Rogue as he gets a macro hatch running. I mean, pressure from INnoVation's been decent, but Rogue's defended well, and he's not let this get out of control. The extra Medevac showing up is kind of the point where usually you need some Banelings to defend, and that's exactly what Rogue has got, because it gets to that point where just Lings and Queens can't defend this because it's that big group of Marines. Makes that very difficult as Lings run in. Marines gonna load up into the Medevacs. Backing away down the right side in those Banes. Seeing a head back, Marines gonna unload once again. A bit of target fire onto these Banes, doing a decent job of this. Some good damage being done as a Liberator. Gonna be finishing in a few moments time. A Medevac popping out too. INnoVation gonna be gathering up on this high ground. More Lings run on in. Just gonna see our Marines picking back up, moving down the bottom side. Lings and Banes getting going. A couple extra Medevacs coming through. Reactors are setting up. And the rest of these Marines from INnoVation just gonna push forward here and get a couple extra creep tumors. As the Lings get through there, this Medevac is gonna take some army into the main base. Keep this harassment going. Drops a single Marine down. Spore taking some damage. Doing a good job of keeping Rogue back and busy, right? You know, the creep spread's not really allowed to get very far forward, so those are all good things. He's just now finishing up his +1 armor upgrade with A second factory coming through. It feels like he'll get ready for a fourth base shortly as well. It should be how things kind of continue here. Everything. Marines, medevac setting up on the left side. More of these lings gonna go out around the right. May as well grab these rocks. More lings gonna go down. Just gonna get us around in. He's getting picked away at a few SCVs and mules going down. Marine's gonna continue up the left side. I'm just going to see these medevacs going to boost down. I mean, this counterattack is great, especially because now he gets into the natural, and he's going to get in the main. Okay, this is really bad. When you've got lings in 3 different bases, it's become so tough to deal with as a Terran player. The only good news is these lings don't have a melee upgrade because it's being focused on carapace so much. I mean, he's pulling the 3rd base SCVs into the natural SCVs into the main. The problem is these SCVs, there's still lings in all of these bases, right? 43 workers go down, and Rogue is going to massacre the mineral lines. Everything is falling. There's a couple wind mines burrow up as well. These Marines clean up. A few Banes gonna get cleaned out too, and just gonna be seeing all the Ling Bane continuing. There's a few other Lings jumping in on top of these Marines, and well, that's kind of it. 62 SCVs go down. That's the entire economy. Lings are still around, and I mean, at this point, Rogue, you just have to fight the one army that's already on the map from INnoVation, and I get the feeling Rogue might be able to do that. I don't think INnoVation's going to pull something out of the hat with these Marines and medevacs that are already around. I mean, maybe a little bit of something, but yeah, to win the game with it, it's unfathomable. It's just not possible. I mean, that was just... You just let everything go wrong. You let them in the 3rd base, that's bad. You let them in the natural, and you're in trouble. You let them in the main base as well, and I mean, that's just bad gameplay. You can't let those lings get into 3 different bases when you're out on the map trying to attack. It just doesn't work. It just won't do anything for you. It just means the game ends, and that's exactly what happens here. Widow Mines connecting on lings and Banes. Some more units showing up as well. So the Widow Mine sets up. Muta's still taking more damage, but I mean, honestly, INnoVation did well with what he had. If only he had any amount of economy behind this. And that's just, yeah, INnoVation making some mistakes, and that will be that. GG's. And Rogue does indeed tie up the series. All tied up. After INnoVation, Red Terran top left led 3-1. It's now all tied up. Rogue getting a bit of momentum in the series, wins 2 in a row. That's obviously a big one. I mean, getting it to 3-3, now it's anybody's game. 2 maps wins it. As INnoVation, that's an interesting SCV path. That feels like a proxy. Now, proxy, and obviously, you already got scouted with a proxy way back on Lightshade. Well, my question is that I don't know if this is just a great idea or not. I mean, Rogue has been scouting with drones frequently. He's been sending his overlords to, proxy locations. Rogue has been very thorough with everything that he's been doing so far, right? Like, Rogue has been just a very complete sort of player up until now. Really not making any errors, not really slipping up at all. This time, nope, there's the drone, there's the scout, right? Like, he's just gonna scout once again here, so he's gonna go no ways. He's going straight there. He's going, and it's 3 racks as well. This is so bad for INnoVation. Well, now it'll be a 2 racks because this one SCV can actually help, but now more drones are gonna pull. He sees this early enough, he might just be able to deny barracks straight up. I mean, this drone puts in damage on an SCV. Any damage, basically the SCV health bars are basically kind of a resource right now. If you run out of SCV HP, you're not going to be able to get these barracks up online. And yeah, I mean, this is an SCV that dies, so there's one of the racks denied. I mean, the problem is now, okay, this INnoVation's going to GG. But why is he going to GG? Because you're not going to finish barracks 2, so you're only ever building 1 marina at a time. And realistically, you can soon have lings, and you're just going to be able to fight 1 marine with drones. Lings show up, you'll never get this racks finished, and then what do? You're just in a horrible spot. Like, maybe you can try and play it out, but this is even worse than it was on the I mean, maybe you can cancel that racks, but because it's a 3 racks as well, this is the other big difference. Because it's 3 racks, this gas is later, so on Lightshade, he was able to go into a Reaper pretty quickly, because it was 2 racks into a gas. This time, it was 3 racks into, eventually, the gas. But that means he's got no gas right now, so you've got to mine 50 gas before Reaper. Like, it's just a complete disaster. You could argue INnoVation can maybe play it out, but sometimes it's good mentally to just get it out of the way and just be kind of done with it, you know? GG's. INnoVation drops a map. On the top left-hand side, he's now won 3 maps in a row. Feeling the heat, feeling good. It's Rogue. And on the bottom right, our red Terran player INnoVation. Now, map 8 means we've played through all 7 of the regular ladder maps, which means we will have repeated maps. So this is basically INnoVation's map pick. He gets to pick Submarine for a second time. No surprises there. It's a map he looked great on earlier. And let's see what Rogue maybe does about it. The only bad news for INnoVation is then I imagine Rogue says, cool, let's play Jagannatha for map 9. And then you've got to play Jagannatha again, which is obviously a little bit tough, a little bit rough. So, yeah. Alright, Overlord Rogue heading down the bottom right side. As the hatchery from Rogue sets up on the natural. And let's see where this goes. Obviously, INnoVation building up in his main. I don't think he's going to try and do anything weird or wonky on this map. To me, this seems like the kind of map where we just play straight up as standard. It's a good enough map for INnoVation to play mid into late game on anyway. So to me, this just seems like that's how he's going to play this out, right? Hey, thank you so much for the couple subs. I'll mention everyone after the game. Let's focus up on this. Obviously, intense final map, potentially, for INnoVation. Needs to win. Let's make sure we see everything and anything that goes on here. As we do have spawning pool on the way up to being about halfway done. Couple drones jumping into the extractor, and INnoVation will SCV scout. Now, Reaper on the way, command center low ground. Everything's very regular so far. I do wonder if Rogue changes it up at all from that kind of Baneling Nest early, like we've been talking about again and again, because that's been a pretty big part of this for a big portion of the time. Has kept him very safe. Again, though, on a map like this, I don't think INnoVation does anything ultra aggressive so early that you maybe need the Baneling Nest. Like, yeah, he's going to be aggressive, but at a later stage, right? He doesn't need to be, aggressive as early as that Baneling Nest looks to defend. He doesn't need to Hellbat attack. So maybe Rogue can get away with bypassing that and getting into a faster Spire, getting into maybe a faster set of upgrades. Those are obviously a few different options. SCV moves up into the main. Factory coming through. Reactor building on the barracks. Double Queen's going to pop out as the Reaper gets turned around right over to the front. Alright, well, Reaper gets a single Zergling here early game. As you have Link Speed about halfway along the factory finishing, going to swap over to that reactor, and Barrack's going to come back, and there's going to be an extra Rax on the... sorry, there's going to be Starport on the way, not an extra Rax. I've misread the situation, my bad. Starport on the way, it's just fast 3cc. A little bit risky on Submarine. You're playing a smaller map. Aggression can absolutely happen on this map. Definitely a little bit risky, but for now it's okay. You'll get by. But definitely something that could have been a little bit dangerous here as you see our Reaper continues out down the bottom right side. So Reaper making his way down the bottom right. Starport about to finish, and this should be, again, there's the choice to go like Banshee, keep safe. He's just going to go for Viking, which probably means he goes into Stim pretty quickly as well. There's a Roach Roaring. Now, is this Roach Roaring looking to be aggressive? Is this Roach Roaring just looking for defense? I think it's aggression. Rogue's got a map to play with here. It's not a lot of kind of safety room, but he's played very honest macro most of the game so far, right? And because of that, I really kind of look at this and say, well, you know what? What a time to switch it up after you've got an INnoVation really in the kind of momentum of, okay, nice macro game, 3 bases, this and that, and all the rest. Why not throw some roaches on a map that is typically kind of something, you do on this map, yes, but INnoVation with the way it's set up, it's not like the super fast roach attack. It's not like any of the early signs are there. INnoVation be like, oh yeah, this looks like roaches, you're being weird. It's very standard into roaches, but he is continuing to drone as well, Rogue. So it's just going to be a roach kind of backline to really emphasize this. As a couple of Hellions pulling back into the center, Viking of INnoVation around the left, and a few Queens in the middle from Rogue will be the defense for now. And there's just the lair on the way up. So yeah, this Rotron kind of is Baneley nest of the of this game, basically, right? It's that kind of safety structure where if aggression does come, you can build roaches defensively. Now, what does this maybe tell us about the future? There's potential to maybe play a 1-1 roach timing. He takes a lot of gas right now with the lair. Maybe aspire into like 1-1 roaches. You know, you build like 8 Mutalisks, you harass around, you distract your opponent, and then you go full-fledged roach production and roach ravager just across the map, clean out, and go from there, perhaps. That's, yeah, there's definitely a possibility as these Hellions and the Reaper from Inno moving around a little bit. We're going to be seeing our Lara about to finish up from Rogue. A couple of Evo Chambers going to be done on the right side as well. And this Viking just scouting around still has 1 kill to its name. And that is all for the moment. Queen's going to push a bit of creep further into the center here. +1 missiles, +1 carapace, roach speed on the way. Hellions, Reaper. Moving around the bottom left-hand side, coming up. Gonna grab a couple of these creep tumors. A couple of those creep tumors going down. We're gonna be seeing this Queen. It's gonna be in some trouble as well. It's gonna go down here, so Queen gets picked off. Now just gonna be seeing these Lings continuing around the right-hand side. Okay, I mean, obviously, a couple of Hellions going down. There's the roaches. So he actually never went Spire or anything. He just went straight into that 1-1 missile play. That's it's kind of surprising to me, honestly. Like, to me, that's a little bit of a shocker, right? Like, it's kind of like a wow. Like, you're just gonna go straight up like 1-1 missile roaches. I mean, I just didn't realize you needed that much gas for it. But I guess you had the Ravages in, and it makes a lot of sense. Let's see what happens is INnoVation coming across the map. This is a horrible time for INnoVation to fight, right? You might have 1-1 upgrades, but there's going to be a lot of Roach Ravager here. Yeah, there's a couple tanks to support, but these are not the fights you want to be taking against Roach Ravager. The longer you wait as a Terran player against Roach Ravager, the better. And Rogue's just going to straight up counterattack. He'll go with the 4th base. He doesn't want to play with the 4th base anyway. This is a 3-base attack. He's going to go across the map and say, I can get way more value counterattacking right now than anything else. He's straight into the natural. No wall goes up. The Lings got there before the depot could raise the first tank. Doesn't get to siege. No save from the medevac. SCV's already pulled in. INnoVation is coming back home with this army after killing the 4th base, but he's lost 10, 11, 12 SCVs already. Roaches in the middle of the map are going to slow this attack down, but then realizing he probably needs to pull them away. So he peels them off to the side. He's actually going to re-engage now. It's just a few units trail after, so taking advantage of INnoVation just looking everywhere, not being able to pay proper attention to everything. And now INnoVation actually has to just lift those units up and save them. Rogue's attack so far is good, but it's not all in. He's got 2-2 behind it, so he will look to the future as well, as he sees a chance to go to the 3rd, but actually there's a lot of tank fire that he takes. He needs to make his way out of here, and that's why he'll focus on this depot. Open up the wall for him to escape. Although the tank's in the main, so they're not really covering this low ground, so maybe you can still stick around here a little bit as Rogue with this Roach Ravager army. 7 more Ravagers morphing in, 5 more Roaches. Just going to be seeing our army of INnoVation setting up still. A few Roaches coming through, a couple SCVs going down. Corrosive Pile's going to keep the Marines at bay. It's kind of a weird fight. I mean, you're killing a lot of SCVs, but you're taking a lot of tank fire during it. So Rogue's taking a lot of hits. Nearly Corrosive Pile's down the 3rd. He might get that with another round of Piles. There's only a few SCVs repairing it. Oh, he's not quite going to get them. He actually goes for Piles on the medevacs, but now Marines are chasing down the Ravagers, so Rogue taking losses. Up 22 workers, but can he recover from this amount of losses? That's going to be the new question. Of course, Roach Ravager is not necessarily the best army for fighting again as those numbers increase from the Terran. He's got a lot of tanks now. If those tanks enforce a good fight, then Rogue might be in some trouble. He might be in some trouble. Hatchery up to the top side. 2-2 missile upgrades still coming through. Again, I think that's great that he started those. If he hadn't started those and INnoVation gets to 2-2 against 1-1, that might be extremely problematic. Marines unloading the natural. Marines stem forward. Queens will transfuse each other up, keeping things alive. One of the medevac goes down. Couple of medevacs gonna boost straight up to the top side. Gonna get to the top. Few Marines unloading and drones taking a little bit of damage as well. You two about to finish up on both sides of the map. Here we go with Rogue. About to max out. Ready for round 2. I mean, it's the siege tank count that's scary. I mean, these drops are kind of scary as well. You got to send a lot around the map to deal with that as Rogue. Let's see what he can do. He's splitting up to attack into natural, into the third base. Can INnoVation hold to give us a game 9? Will Rogue bust through to win it all? Here we go. We'll find out. Tanks just have nothing in front of them, so they go down so quickly. That's a major issue. No high ground vision until the Overseer gets here, but when the high ground vision comes in, these next 2 tanks go down. These Marines are so late and they're coming back home. Meanwhile, over here, these Marines are going to start unloading. I'm sure they'll get some damage, but there's no defenses here anymore, so this Roach Ravager is going to do a ton of damage as well. Of course, reinforcements will just rally out to this drop, and it's the only real threat on the map. A few Marines hanging back, maybe looking to catch reinforcements, but you know what? That's not even that important right now, as these Marines in the main are going down. The tank gets set up, but it just doesn't feel like INnoVation will do enough across the map, as Rogue just has so much camped in the production. Yeah, I mean, Queens nearly shooting down this medevac. Not quite, but there is not much left really for Inno, right? Off the army supply. I know he's playing against Roaches, but the chance of him getting anything new on the map is just so unlikely with this Roach Ravager poised in the main. And it's obviously, losing all of the SCVs as well. 38, 40 plus going down. INnoVation will leave the game as Rogue wins 4 maps in a row. Wow, I mean, that was impressive from Rogue. He was down 1-3. He wins 4 in a row in pretty convincing fashion. He played some solid CVT here, to be quite honest, guys. He played some freaking great CVT. And Rogue takes it 5-3 over INnoVation in this best of 9. GG's, well played, and congrats to Rogue.